Professor, Physician, Epidemiologist. I am Dr. Sri Banerjee. Hello, I am Dr. Sri Banerjee, core faculty for the College of Health Sciences and Public Policy at Walden University. And in this video, I will be going over some geospatial techniques, but also how to better understand a variable that is not used enough, I would argue, and that is premature mortality. And so before talking about the geographic distribution of premature mortality or the local level frequency distribution, I want to talk briefly about what exactly premature mortality is. So basically it is the years of potential life lost, and so by a person dying, especially before the age of 75. So if a person, for instance, let me give you an example to try to illustrate this. So for instance, an individual passes away at the age of 65 due to diabetes. So then they would have a premature mortality that would be calculated relative to the fact that the years of potential life lost would be from 75. So that's kind of a rough way to think about it. So if you think about another aspect that's really important to consider is the fact that younger age groups are actually weighted heavier than older age groups. So this creates a kind of a graded calculation. But I think the area that is important to focus on here. First of all, these the rates that I will be presenting to you momentarily are actually per 100,000. And this is going to be at the county level. So I've generated this map already in ArcGIS, and I use something called prevalence analysis, which is something I had mentioned at the end of another video. If you follow my YouTube lectures. So what are we looking at here? What I encourage you to do, of course, if you haven't used ArcGIS, online ArcGIS, take a look at some of the other videos I've created. But for starters, you want to see what the legend says of any map. So when I created this map, and I'm going to backtrack and kind of show you how I created this map as well. And so all of the information that you see on this map comes from data that has been that has been taken from 2021 county health rankings. So this is a collaborative effort for a collection of data sets I've described extensively, quite extensively actually, in some of my other videos. So I would encourage you to look at that as well. So over here, just looking at what is being mapped and what all the different colors represent. So if we're looking at kind of the yellowish sort of color, highlighted yellow, I would call it kind of mustard color, that is designating and corresponding to counties where the predominant race for highest overall mortality is white. So places where there's white highest overall premature mortality, those are yellow. If the areas are red, on the other hand, then that represents the values for Black individuals. And then, if we're thinking about American Indian or Alaska Native, that's represented by blue. Asian is represented by green, and then Hispanic purple. So take a moment, now that you know the color designation, take a moment to look at maybe the part of the country that you're more familiar with or you reside in. I'm going to also have this map available on a link within the description of the YouTube video. So you can explore this particular map on your own time as well. But what I've done is I've created actually county level measures. I went ahead and labeled them. So this analysis, this map has multiple components, more so than meets the eye, and I want you to appreciate that. So let's take a look at Atlanta, because there seems to be kind of a distribution in premature mortality, and certain counties have different rates. So looking at Clayton County, for starters, Clayton County has predominant white premature mortality with 14,493 per 100,000, whereas Black premature mortality is 9,046 per 100,000. So this, in comparison to a neighboring county, and the neighboring county comparisons are probably the most striking, because that is the biggest indicator that geographic variables are actually varying, and with different variables as well. So for instance, premature mortality, if it varies by geography, then neighboring county comparisons can really provide insights as to how that happens. So let's take a look at neighboring county, Cobb County. And as I had said, here you'll notice that white premature mortality is lower than Black premature mortality. So there's Cobb County, and then there's Clayton County, and you can already see that there's a difference there. And then DeKalb County is also a county that I actually resided in for quite a bit of time. And there the Black premature mortality is much higher, almost twice as high as white premature mortality. So you can already see 3 neighboring counties within the city of Atlanta having varied sort of mortality. So this is the type of exercise that I encourage you to do by looking in various cities and kind of understanding the local level disparities that are going on. Now, of course, you can conduct the analysis at a much broader level, on a national level, and I've also shown you techniques as to how you can apply that type of analysis to conduct robust national level geographic sort of analyses. So this should give you some insights as to how urban areas are affected, and even if you look at some regions, and I'm going to end this video with some regional patterns that are interesting to further explore. If you, I've provided you with some good information, even within the county level, that you can then compare with other sorts of measures like life expectancy and whatnot. So that's one kind of tangent that you can take this and better understand. But the other piece of this is really understanding kind of the various regions. So the southern region, for instance, the stroke belt is there, diabetes belt. There's different geographic patterns that you kind of, as you make more and more maps, you get to understand. So within the southern region of the United States, you have more minority predominance, premature mortality. So exploring more of these patterns and why this is the way it is, it's important. And also looking at the Appalachian region and a lot of areas where industry has since left, and a lot of the coal mines and region industries are closing down. There's more premature mortality, and then of course environmental factors. So the Appalachian region is important, and then also looking at many of the reservations that are out west, and understanding the blue regions, and how Native American premature mortality persists, and what some of those reasons may be. So I'm just gonna pull this legend in here and make sure that we're getting all our colors right, but then referring back to the Hispanic population, looking at some regions of Texas near San Antonio, and then looking into New Mexico, and even parts of Arizona. So this shows the not only the power of predominance analysis, but furthermore understanding equity in the context of ethnic background can be a really resourceful tool to then inform future interventions to try to address needs at the local and community level. So if you want to find out more information on how to create some of these maps, the techniques are still the same as I've shown and demonstrated in previous sessions. Again, you can go into the county health rankings, which has been derived from the Living Atlas, and then on the right hand side you can kind of look at how you can change some of these styles. So I'm just gonna briefly run through these. If you want to, you can take a look at how to change some of these styles. The style that I used as the predominant category right here, and then the attributes you can just choose and select here, and very easily, really within minutes, create some powerful maps. So not only have I now shown you some incredible maps that can guide policy, but now also have shown you how to configure some of these maps and create your own. Thank you for listening.